Autism versus social anxiety. Let's get into it. So, with autism, we're thinking it's a neurotype. Traits are going to be lifelong and they will date back to early childhood. Social anxiety is a mental health condition which is acquired and it's episodic. It's unlikely to be something that somebody would experience over their lifetime. It does tend to respond quite well to treatment. In autism, we see social communication differences, and while that can lead to avoidance of socializing or behaving in ways that don't conform to neurotypical norms, it's important to note that many autistic people report experiencing social anxiety. It's like landing in a foreign country and not understanding the language, but still being expected to play by the same rule books. Understandably, that would make anyone anxious. For autistic people, those social communication differences can occur with or without distress. For someone with social anxiety, symptoms of going to cause significant distress and impairment in their functioning. And there are three distinct cognitive processes. Phase 1, anticipatory anxiety. Phase 2, situational exposure. And phase 3, post-event processing. If you want to learn more about those, check out my Treating Social Anxiety manual. For autistic people, while you may see rumination, these are likely due to those inherent differences in their social communication style, the feeling that it's necessary to script, rehearse, or prepare for social encounters, and the anxiety that's experienced in that moment due to those key differences. Autistic people tend to communicate in a way that is direct. There's a preference for literal communication. You'll notice differences in nonverbal cues and processing, and there may be some potential challenges with developing and maintaining relationships with neurotypical people. There are additional traits that we want to consider for an autistic person, such as deep and passionate interests, hypo or hypersensitivity to sensory input, a need for sameness and consistency, repetitive or stimming type behaviors. There is no treatment for autism. What we would be doing in therapy is we would be looking at, well, what's coming up for this person? What are the existing challenges? And we'd be looking at treating those, not the autism, because autism is neither something we need to cure or treat, nor is it something that is curable anyway. With social anxiety, we know that it's something that is treatable. We would use CBT alongside perhaps some SSRIs. It's helpful to think about it this way. Most autistic people will have at some point experienced social related anxiety due to their inherent differences and the way that they are perceived by society. So, in order to actually differentiate social anxiety from autism, we need to look at the whole constellation of traits that would accompany autism. Do we see differences in social interactions alongside differences in the way that somebody communicates verbally and non-verbally, the differences in the way that they may approach, develop, or maintain relationships? And do we also see those additional traits I mentioned? These ones up here, all of criterion B. So if we are noting any additional traits that wouldn't typically be seen in social anxiety, this is where it becomes really important to screen and consider whether autism is present. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and which diagnoses would you like me to explore next?